pulling into the Gladman layer. So we just left Tim's and we basically done a start to finish install, minus a couple pieces of plastic, of a Hess 2-to-1 quickener. Well, where are these animals coming from? What in the world? Hope I don't run one of these dogs over. But anyways, so we did a complete install of the Hess 2-to-1 quickener, and now we're just going to come up here and check out what Kevin did, which is basically going to be like your alternative. Easy.
Throwing shit everywhere.
Wow. So this is the first time I've seen Kevin's unit since we were out at Joe's place and filming for episode 2 when we were putting the tracking out there. So
Still taking grass out of this thing.
yeah. So when he said it was stripped down, he was not joking around. It is stripped.
Not sure what I'm gonna do on the passenger side of the floorboard. I don't know if the rules say that you gotta have aluminum floor pan both sides or not.
I'm not sure.
It's just
I don't think
driver's
so.
compartment, I'm gonna leave
I think
it.
it's just driver's compartment. Yeah. I think same goes for the back too, for the firewall, just on the driver's side. So. But anyways, so you just seen us install the Hess 2-to-1 quickener on my machine. So we thought it'd be a cool episode to do to compare what your options were as far as getting 2-to-1 quickening. So on Kevin's unit, he has, like I said earlier, has the paddle shift model, and I have the shifter model with the clutch, so they're a little bit different. But Kevin went a totally different route. Didn't feel like paying the money for the Hess stuff, so he went ahead and did it himself. So we're going to start from the beginning and pretty much talk about what it took to do Kevin's complete setup.
So basically, I'm gonna pop this shit all off here, so that way you can see what I got going on. But took an old steering shaft. You know, I needed the quick disconnect, which honestly, I was able to get one for next to nothing. So that's what I used. Now, if I was gonna build it again, I would obviously probably just buy All-Star Performance or Sweet splined in and the quick connect and all that crap.
Yeah, so somebody starting from the beginning that's not going to have access to the steering wheel and the coupler that you had basically is going to have this shaft
It'll
that you made.
3/4 steering shaft
Yeah.
all the way out.
Yeah.
The only reason why I left that in there is because at the end of that steering shaft it had the stabilizer bearing, so you needed something to hold it, which you can buy, you know, Heim joints that are 3/4 ID and do the same thing, basically, you know, essentially. But I mean, with this thing, the only flex you got in it is what's in the actual adjuster to be able to adjust the tilt wheel.
So he's going to pop off some of this plastic, and then we'll get really into the guts of it. And
The
start
only
from
thing
the
about
beginning.
with this, the getting rid of the shift paddles and shit, is that I put momentary switches on the steering wheel. So there's a simple, when you push it, it's on. When you let it release it, it's off. So that's basically the signal the computer's looking for to grab another gear in the sport shift. So these fasteners are kind of wore out. Basically, you got your starting with the wheel, the momentary switches, that's shift down, shift up, just like it normally would be. And like I was saying on Haas's, how he doesn't have these 90-degree brackets with these nuts welded on the back of them on his, because that's where your paddles would normally mount. So I just took some 1/8-inch plate or steel strap and broke it and drilled it to make, you know, to basically use your old shift paddle brackets as a steering stabilizer. And then the stock hub, because that's an oddball metric sized ID bearing, I had to take a piece of tubing and I turned it down on the lathe to make a sleeve to go over the 3/4 steering shaft, be able to take that slop out of that. And then on the back side, I took where the motor would be, which I'll show you where it's at in a minute. I put a Sweet Manufacturing steering U-joint in there, and then this is a Speedway Engineering 2-to-1 steering quickener that you'd use on a dirt car. And then, like I say, I had some leftover steel from redoing a couple trailers, so I just welded a couple of pieces in there to make a bracket, which if I was to do it again, it'd be, you know, buy what I want, not a quarter plate. But and then it goes into a double sweep manufacturer U-joint to a plate with a, because then when you run the double U-joint, you got to have something to hold the shaft, so it's got a 3/4 ID Heim bolted in there. And then that piece I showed you, that's the intermediate shaft that goes between the motor and through the stock hub, and then your steering wheel, your stock steering wheel splines to. I cut that and slid a weld-on steering U-joint over top of it and welded that together, made a bracket for the motor to bolt in and a plate, which, knowing what I know now, I would have put the plate on top so nothing fills up this void right here and just makes a muddy mess. It's like a catch.
Okay, so you put the plate on the bottom.
Because that's just where it ended up at.
So these tubes here are not in the stock unit,
This tube isn't either.
and neither is this tube here. Is
Or
not
this
part of the
tube.
stock unit.
Or this
yet.
tube.
Let me come around and get a little bit better shot.
Because
of it.
this car has also got the 911 fab chassis gusset kit in it. So it didn't have the shock tower stabilizer tabs, any of that laser cut stuff. It didn't have this in it. Didn't have the crossbar here or the vertical pieces here to tie the whole front together to keep it from bending. Because I had already smacked the tree with this thing, hair scrambling, and it shortened the right side up by 2 inches.
Oh, it's got the DWR
But
OG.
it's got the DWR
It's got the OG bumper on it.
OG original.
First one. So anyways, we'll get back to this steering. So he's
So-
got this bar, and then these bars in here are all added. He added all these bars in here to put this plate in here, which carries the motor, right?
Yep.
So his motor is actually mounted down here, and obviously his radiator's not in here because he has a relocate kit, so the radiator's not in the way. So if you were gonna do the setup, like he has it on his, you would have to relocate the radiator,
Right.
or already have your radiator relocated, to do what he did here.
Now, another thing that I noticed with mine, I'd be interested to see with the Hess unit if you have that issue or not. But like, the stock unit, if you're trail riding and stuff, it's not bad. But when you got this 2-to-1 quickener, and I'll turn the key on to get the electric assist. But when you're sawing on the wheel on this thing, because you know when you're racing, you're gonna be, you know, all the way this way, get it pitched in the corner, and then you gotta catch the car and come back real hard or real fast. Well, the stock one, the stock controller, which is this thing here, which is the Weller edition one, it varies the voltage. So when you're sitting here like not doing anything, the voltage is at 0 or very low, like maybe like 5 volts, a little assist. When you yank on it, when it sees the speed pick up, because there's sensors in that motor, it puts full 12-volt battery voltage to it. But whenever you come back to the right or the opposite direction, whichever way you got to turn, it's got to go back to 0 voltage, then creep back up on voltage on power steering assist. So you end up with this giant dead spot where you're trying to turn the wheels with no power steering and turn the electric motor, which is trying to stay straight. So with that, it's constantly whatever your battery voltage is. So whenever you crank it right, crank it left, it's putting 12 volts one way and 12 volts the other way.
So you're saying for somebody to do this setup like you have yours,
I
that
honestly think you're gonna-
this Weller unit is almost a must.
Yes, and I honestly think, because mine's basically the same thing as what the Hess setup is, just that I decided to move the motor down out of the way to put this put the dirt car style 2-to-1 quickener in it. It's the same design basically because you have your 2-to-1 quickener ahead of your motor that I think you're going to need it on your Hess setup.
Yeah.
You won't know
Could be.
until you
Won't know.
You won't know until you go
Yeah,
out
we
there and
won't know.
start sawing on the wheel. So, but yeah, it works pretty good. It definitely helped a lot on being able to trust the car going into a corner.
So what do you got here? Talk about this a little bit. We got these wires hanging on here for someone that, obviously you can see that he doesn't have the paddles anymore, and the buttons are in the steering wheel. So how did you make that happen? How did you get
These are two old.
Because this is pretty cool. I actually drove this car. If you watched episode 2, or at the end, I drove this car.
Got Hess out there in my unit, checking out the track we made here.
I have a paddle shift model also, the 17 that we just talked about in the last episode, but I actually drove this car, and those buttons, the shifters on the steering wheel are, if you're going to race it, as far as I'm concerned, would have to be a must, because I would not be able to race the paddle shift model.
You have a lot going on because
Yeah, there's a whole lot going on. So, Kevin's unit was way easier to drive, not only because it has 2-to-1 steering in it, but the buttons in the steering wheel. So, what has to happen in order for someone to make this happen on their unit?
Well, what I got here is basically 2 push-to-talks, old push-to-talks that we used to race in asphalt racing, that they were sitting on a shelf, going to throw them away, whatever the deal was. So, it's basically for their radio communication on the wheel. The driver would hit that to key up to talk to us. But, I mean, essentially I got it just because it's stretchy, you can wind it up, don't have to worry about it. And then I got a Deutsch connector, and you just got to figure out whenever you go to do it, if you look in here, here's the stock shift down pigtail. I left it in there and I just put the pins in it and pinned it on that side for the left, or for the shift down, and then the shift up one's right here, same kind of thing. I just did them both one side, and then on here, if you look at the connector, I got the shift down on this side, shift up on that side, so it just plugs in. So that way, whenever I'm washing the machine, I can unhook it so my wheel doesn't get all soaking wet and nasty and all that
Right.
stuff.
And obviously, you got to be able to. It's got to be somewhat stretchy because you have a quick
Yeah,
disconnect
turn.
steering wheel. You got to take it off too.
Well,
you
that,
have to turn.
you have to turn it. But
and
I
it
mean, you
has
can
to come
buy
off.
wiring that's in a pigtail off Amazon real cheap, but like I said, free is for me. So
Right.
I'm gonna say, if you can get it done under 200, which you should be able to, minus the wheel,
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna be way ahead versus
Right.
spending, what was it,
$800.
$800 on your
$795 to get the
Setup you had.
setup that we just showed you on my
And if
unit.
you want-
So pop that steering wheel off there real quick. We'll look. So like he was saying a minute ago, this is just a piece of strap, 1/8-inch thick steel that he used the stock bolts on, or the stock bolt-in locations for the paddles. This is where the
Yep.
paddles came from, but he used that as a stabilizer. So you just come out here. This is just a bearing to take out any type of movement in the shaft out here.
Plus
This
that way
piece,
you won't break it clean off with
Right.
this, because I mean, you're hanging so far out here.
yeah, you got, and also at this point you have the option, once you get the hub, most of these steering wheels that you buy with the quick disconnect hub come with the weld-on spline.
Right.
So once you have that, you have the option for this to be, you could come clear back here if you want to, or it could be shorter than what he has or whatever, but you have the option to do that. So this piece was made and welded on back here, and then this is just a stabilizer just to keep any
And
of
you
the
could buy, if you
movement
really
out.
wanted to make it really cool, you could buy the pieces to make it a telescoping wheel, and then this would pinch it down, like there'd be, a spline piece in between here instead of to make, but you could do it.
Right. So behind the stock, what do you want to call that?
That's the steering hub.
Steering hub. Back here, he's got another, he's got a Sweet.
Yep.
Sweet Manufacturing. Got a Sweet Manufacturing U-joint right there. And then that goes into the, how did you mount? Okay, so you brought a bracket up here. There's a bracket tied in. There's a lot of stuff in the way. It's kind of hard to see down in
Yeah.
here, but he's got a bracket run up off of the off the stock mount over there that mounted this steering quickener, which you can get from Speedway or Summit, and I don't know exactly how much they are, but
They need that.
they're
I'll
not,
look it up.
they're not $700.
No.
So once it goes through there, he's got another, try and zoom in on it a little bit. He's got another U-joint right there coming out of the quickener. Come around. This is the back side of that. So that U-joint runs down to another U-joint. So we got 3 U-joints total.
Yeah, and you gotta use,
So
I forgot to mention that your stock steering shaft, you have to use the spline in. I had to separate these and put the stock one on this Sweet Manufacturing one, and then, well, obviously I welded that one on, so that was about it. But because this spline on this rack is like a one-off Yamaha or whoever manufactures the rack spline, because I couldn't find that diameter and the spline count anywhere to be able to just buy a U-joint for it. So I had to separate that U-joint and put the stock one on it. It's the same size bearing, same size, regular steering U-joint. It's just the ends custom made for that specific rack, for the splines and getting it all squared back around. That was the biggest pain about the whole thing. Getting it all back together was having to do that. Otherwise, you're kind of stuck with it, short of welding it on.
So even harder to see down
I
in
lied.
here is he's got a Heim joint welded off of a bracket right on the other side here.
Yeah, I can't really.
Yeah, it's really hard to see.
See the
But
bulkhead.
anyways, it's just the shaft is the steering shaft's running through it.
It ain't really.
It's really hard to
any,
see or get
any kind
into.
of pressure or weight on it. All it's doing is just keeping this thing true to that. So I guess I was wrong. I couldn't remember. I did. It was on sale. I know I didn't spend $100 on that quickener. So I want to say it was like $80 or something when it was on sale, but it retails for $97. So your most expensive piece is probably going to be that that quickener, and then
Right. What was it? What was it on there? That quickener?
how much
What
was
was
it?
it? Yeah.
It was $97.
$97.
But I got it on sale, so.
$97, and then your 3 U joints, which they're not cheap, but they're not expensive either.
Right.
So after it come through the firewall there, we'll go back one more time to this spot where he moved the motor down to. So there's a little bit of fab work involved in there, but it's all in what you want to do. So if you want the ease of just bolting on what we just bolted on in Hess stuff, it comes with a price tag. So if you don't want that, then there's always this option. And like Kevin started to say earlier, if you have the 17 model or 18 model with the paddles on it, and you're interested in doing this setup to yours, hit one of us up on either Facebook or comment on this video or whatever. And if you get a hold of me, I'll probably just direct you towards Kevin anyhow, since he did most of the work to this one. So
I will say, if you have the regular, not the paddle shifts, like the sport shift model, it'll be kind of harder to do because you don't have these brackets on the side that just mount to. If you have stick shift, like what yours is on your 60, there's nothing there to put this stabilizer bracket in there.
Right.
Just, so you have to basically weld on a piece to do it, which, just another thing.
well, and at that point, you could probably tie into these maybe on the top, come out,
Right.
and then up with a piece or whatever. It was just convenient with those there
Yep.
on this one. So anyways, that is pretty much the whole unit in a nutshell. And like I said, there's still some stuff in here. It's really hard to see some of the stuff. We tried to get in there and show you, kind of what he had going on there, just to give you an idea. Maybe you've been wanting some quicker steering and you saw the Hess price tag and didn't want to do it. So that was basically what Kevin did. Obviously, whenever you're talking about racing or any type of racing, short course racing or woods racing or whatever, quicker steering is a huge help. So if you're looking to put quicker steering on your unit, but you don't want the price tag, here's an option for you. So this will pretty much, we'll wrap it up here for this particular episode. So if you've been watching along with us, thank you. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. We like to see that people are following along with us, and we're gonna get rolling. Kevin's back in town for good now, so we're gonna really dive into these things and really start getting them set up and ready to race. We're gonna be ready for May. We're gonna have them done for May. So we're gonna test them out. Crandon will be in June, and Rolling W Ranch is before that in May. So we want to have these units done. So, anyways, thanks for watching. If you subscribed to the channel already, thank you. If you haven't done so, please do so. And we'll catch you guys next time.